Xbox gets ready to show off Indiana Jones, Rocksteady's Suicide Squad just can't catch a break, and things at Twitch look absolutely dire. I'm Ash Dixon and this is GINX News. The winter season is an incredibly mixed bag. Yes, Christmas is always a jolly old time, and as a good lad, I'll never object to being bestowed with the contents of Santa's sack. And as a Northern Hemisphere guy, things can look awfully pretty covered in snow. The problem is, here in the UK, we don't get that very often. Most of the time, it's just cold and grey and wet, and you're trapped paying half of your salary on a single room purely for the luxury of a broken radiator and a freezing shower. So how do I deal with such dystopian societal decline? Escapism! And that's the segue back to video games. You know what this show is actually about. The problem is, unlike the weather, the world of gaming is barren during the winter. We're out here scrambling for morsels like Gale when he wants to take another one of my goddamn magic items. And no dude, this ring lets me turn my fingers into snakes. It might be useful at some point. So thank God Xbox and Bethesda have announced a developer direct presentation next week. Thursday is the date. These are the times based on your time zones, and considering the abysmal year that Xbox had last year, surely they've got to be packing some hot shit. The main highlight will likely be the upcoming Indiana Jones from Machine Games. They're known for the modern Wolfenstein series, and just big props in general for having killing Nazis as such a core part of your studio's identity. We'll also be getting a look at Avowed from Obsidian. Now, it was kind of overshadowed by other games when we got a first look last year. Most people kind of went, ooh, a colourful first-person fantasy RPG. This might be nice while we wait for Elder Scrolls 6. But I tell you what, after the state of Starfield, I'd make the most of this when it comes out. The event will have plenty more to sink your teeth into as well, and it's worth remembering that during last year's January Direct, they ended up shadow dropping Hi-Fi Rush, ironically their best game of the entire year. So who knows, maybe we'll get a nice little treat. But what do you think? Are you excited for any of those games? Is Xbox set to have a great year? Are you goddamn sick of having cold showers? Let me know down in the comments. Let's talk about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, because a bunch of people have had a hands-on preview and whew,
it's not looking good, bruv.
For those unaware, it's from Rocksteady, the people behind the much-loved Arkham games, and while it's set in the same DC universe, excitement quickly evaporated when it was revealed to be a live service game. Since then, its development journey has been rather depressing to watch. The gaming community loves a target to dump on, and the game hasn't failed to give it a load of ammunition, despite Rocksteady's clear attempt to change the narrative, which is what they would have been hoping for with this preview event. However, the 5 hours of gameplay hasn't left anyone feeling too optimistic. VGC said they're not convinced. IGN said they outright didn't like it, which is never a good sign when IGN is being that bold. But for the sake of balance, it's worth noting that someone over at Games Radar had a whale of a time. And in a nutshell, it feels like the game is this live service action open world concoction. Apparently the story is actually pretty strong, and there's clear attempts at making the gameplay interesting. How that all meshes together though, that seems to be the question. A lot of people think this is going to be dead on arrival, and it feels like a lot of people want this to be dead on arrival, and that attitude is kind of depressing. It feels like Rocksteady have been railroaded by poor executive decisions made like 4 years ago, and by God, are they trying to make it work. And while it can be fun to jump on the witch hunt bandwagon, ultimately there's a load of talented people clearly putting a lot of heart into this game. I'm not going to pretend though that it's magically going to be good, but I'm just saying maybe let's not write it off just yet. Fresh after Unity gutted 1,800 employees from their workforce, it looks like Twitch, or should I say Amazon, are following suit. According to Bloomberg, 35% of Twitch staff are going to lose their jobs, which is obviously seriously bad news to start the year. And it's not like this is the first time it's happened. Last March, over 400 employees were made redundant, and in October, there was a further round of cuts, that time to the customer experience team. Twitch have declined to comment on the report, but Amazon bought the company about a decade ago for almost $1 billion, and it's still unprofitable. Ouch. Now, I get that running a streaming platform is tough, especially considering that it produces almost 2 billion hours of live content a month. All that costs a ton of money, and they really only have two options. They can increase revenue or cut expenses. They've tried the first, and I guess they're going with option 2 now, but this would leave them with literally half the staff they had this time last year. Admittedly, I'm no business whiz. If I was, this video would have like a million views. But this just reeks of mismanagement and bad decisions. My guess is that Twitch will be sold off again within like a few years, and who knows, that could be a good thing if Bezos and co have fluffed their lines. One company that will no doubt benefit from Twitch's problems is rival platform Kick. Their co-founder implied that it's only a matter of time before they buy Twitch themselves, which is hilarious considering their whole strategy seems to be throwing around ludicrous amounts of their gambling money. So yeah, big words from someone whose entire business model revolves around destroying people's lives. Back to Twitch though, and there's no denying the cuts just aren't a good look. That's not stopping us from streaming there, however. In fact, tune in on weekdays at this time to catch us in action. Well, that's until Kick decides to throw us millions of that dirty money. It's time for Creation Corner, and man, I just had to show this one off. With the wait of GTA 6 being painfully long, it's become a bit of a trend to recreate the GTA 6 trailer in other games. We've seen it in Minecraft, very blocky, very nice. But now content creator Mickey D has taken things one step further by using Morrowind. And at first, I'll be honest, it wasn't immediately obvious that's what this was, but then I saw this saucy scene and I knew exactly where I was in the trailer. And from there, it was just smooth sailing. And despite its ancient graphics and its goofy models, I finished it simply glad that this strange, unnecessary work of art existed. God knows what's next. And that's your lot for today. Like and subscribe so I can afford a bigger room and a hot shower. Make sure to check out yesterday's video somewhere around here, and we'll see you tomorrow.